We welcome our cherished viewers and listeners to Scala News. In this encounter, we have a discussion on evangelization and secularization in this world of liminality. These are terms identified by the General Chapter of the Redemptorist Congregation. This interaction is under the auspices of the Secretariat of Evangelization for the congregation. I am Christian Klu, a student here in Rome in Academia Alfonsiana. With me is a very known face, a confrere and a brother, a Redemptorist missionary priest from Delta State in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Many years of missionary experience as a Redemptorist in Nigeria and around the world. Notably, he is the immediate past Vice-Provincial Superior of the Viceprovince of Nigeria. He works also as the parish priest of St. Fabian Parish in Abuja. Currently, he serves on the Secretariat for Evangelization for the congregation. I introduce you to our very own brother, Father Joterio Aghoja. You are welcome.
Thank you, Christian. Yeah, you called the name Aghoja, but it's Aghoja.
Aghoja. I'm very sorry about that.
No problem.
This discussion, as I've already introduced, is on evangelization in the arms or in the aim. What is the vision and mission of the Secretariat of Evangelization?
Thank you. Christian said evangelization. So before talking about the Secretariat for Evangelization, I'd like to give you like our structure. The Secretariat for Evangelization, as the name implies, we deal with the missionary apostolate, our mission in relationship with our charism and our identity. Now, the Secretariat of Evangelization is composed of some commissions. There are some commissions that we animate. And if you look at the structures of those commissions, you already begin to understand our identity, our goals, the goals of the congregation for the Secretariat. And the Evangelization Secretariat, one of the missions we animate is the mission for shared mission or partnership in mission. As you will understand, that mission, that commission comprises of all our lay apostolate or lay collaborators. In this sense, you would think of the oblates of the Redemptorists, you would think of the confraternity of the Armada Perpetual Help, you think of things like the League of St. Gerard Majella. Well, you think of those we call the Friends of Redemptorists. Yeah. And more recently, you also think of those we call the lay missionaries of the Most Holy Redeemer. Okay. So all those are lay collaborators. Those are the people we work with. And not just that we work with them, they also engage in our missionary activities with us. That is one commission under the Evangelization Secretariat. The second is the Redemptorist Youth and Vocation Ministry.
Right.
Now, when you talk about the Redemptorist Youth and Vocation Ministry, I want to clarify something. Vocation is used there, not in the limited sense of vocation to the Redemptorist way of life.
Exactly.
But the vocation means in the broad sense of occupation, of a calling to life. That means the young people we engage, we create a conducive environment for them. They come with questions. They are curious. They come with a lot of anxieties. So in meeting us, hopefully we provide a safe environment for them where they engage us, engage our charisms, their worries, their difficulties, we're able to move with them. And in that process of moving with them, some might be wondering, oh, should I give my life? Should I be married? Should I remain in a single state? Should I think of vocation to the religious life? It could be any religious life. So we help them to sort through those delicate situations.
Moment of discernment.
Yes, help them. In that moment of discernment, some could discern that, wow, we love the Redemptorist. We want to become part of your group. Then those ones will move them to the vocation, those in the vocation ministry proper to help them in their journey. So we also have those group which we take of the young people, young adults. Then also in our group, we have the justice, peace, and integrity of creation.
Oh, great.
That also shows you the mission of the congregation. We are not just only about the spiritual. We want to also know about the social, political, cultural situation where we live in.
Yes.
Are there just structures? What are the structures in the society that work against the will of God for a healthy life, for fullness of life? They also want to look at creation, especially with ladder to see the integrity of creation. How do we use creation? If you look at creation now, you have to look at it. We have deforestation, we have desertification in Africa leading to starvation. So what we do in that commission, the Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation does, is trying to have a holistic approach.
Great.
With the creation.
Great.
Then after that, we have what we call CORIAM, which is a conference of Redemptorists for Africa and Madagascar.
Yes.
You may want to ask, why single out Africa and Madagascar? Africa and Madagascar is singled out because the congregation has taken Africa and Madagascar as a priority. Exactly. They believe that we are a fragile conference, that they need to accompany us in every way to become strong, to be solid. So these are the commissions under the Evangelization Secretariat.
Thank you for this beautiful panoramic view about the Secretariat of Evangelization. Now, you've been with this Secretariat a couple of years. Can you share your experience and sentiment about working with this Secretariat?
Yeah, I've heard of their work. I've read documents from the Secretariat. I've read one of the beautiful documents that came out was how to have redemptorist spirit within our apostolates, shrines and other things. I've read that. But I was just recently appointed into it this last sexennium. The general government appointed me into the commission. But there is something about the commission I see. The Evangelization Secretariat is like the bedrock secretariat for our congregation. Everything exactly. About our Redemptorist identity, our missionary life, our apostolic life, you find them rooted. Like the 4 commissions I told you, you can see them, they are linked together. They are connected to our apostolate.
Yes.
But beyond that, the general government also gave us some key mandates derived from the final documents of the 26th general chapter. For example, I think what I see about our secretariat is this. How do we make accessible to the people? How do we take that mission statement of the 26th general chapter that says we are missionaries of hope in the footsteps of the Redeemer, are vita apostolica in a change of era? How do we take that from the idealistic perspective and incarnate it? Yeah. That is also part of our core work that I find very interesting. Now, the general government also told us that with the formation, Secretariat for Formation,
yes,
with the Center for Spirituality, Redemptorist Spirituality, and the Alphonsian Academy,
yes,
that we should be able to devise a program for Redemptorists who have been in ministry for 10 years, a renewal program for them that it could be for renewal, but that this program will also be opened to our lay partners. Number 2, they also told us that at the Secretariat, we're also to look at what he said. He said to undertake a thorough study of the impact of the secular world on our Redemptorist identity. And also that we are supposed to accompany, the Secretariat is supposed to accompany with the general government, the units, the apostolic plans of the units, and the conferences to ensure that the number of confreres in active ministries, they continue to grow.
Yes. Thank you very much. I am very impressed with your sharing about the mission, the vision, and also your personal exposure to this work of evangelization. Now, in this context, we are coming from Africa and Madagascar with diverse culture, diverse social experiences and political. Can you give us the context within which the Redemptorists carry out the work of evangelization in Africa and Madagascar.
Yes. The context of Africa and Madagascar is very complex. It is complex because Africa is a very huge continent.
Exactly.
But not just huge, but we are diverse. There's a diverse continent, different cultures, different experiences.
Exactly.
But it's made more complex in my understanding for three major reasons. First, you have the problem of distance in Africa. Very distant situation, but without good networks of roads or interconnectivity.
Exactly.
For example, it might surprise you that it's easier for me to fly from Nigeria to London than it's for me to go to Burkina Faso.
A lot of hurdles.
Yes, that is very close to me in Nigeria.
Yes.
Yeah, so these are some of the issues. Then you have the other issue. This is the issue of war, the issue of terrorism, the issue of poverty. And this poverty are man-made, human-made poverty due to corruption and a lot of things. That is also the context of Africa. And then you have the context of, you call it culture, the different cultures. How do we make our message of plentiful redemption? How do we incarnate it in the African context?
That is the
you
word.
need it to something like inculturation.
Incarnate the word.
In the context of Africa. That it becomes meaningful, not just meaningful. The African person is able to appropriate it, and it becomes the good news for the African person. It becomes truly plentiful redemption for the African person.
Thank you for this context. It's a very good exposure. Now, can you tell us, our viewers, what are the strong points of our evangelization in Africa and Madagascar?
Yeah, the beauty. The strongest point for us is that we are a young continent with young, vibrant, active, dynamic confreres.
Young, vibrant, dynamic, active confreres.
Burning with zeal.
Thank you.
To share that plentiful redemption with others. In the strength lies also the weakness.
Definitely, we are going to talk about the weaknesses.
So you truly find a conference that is well animated, a conference that is so, the conference are enthused. They want to really go become missionaries of the Most Holy Redeemer and the footstep of the Most Holy Redeemer.
As you rightly pointed out, talking about the strength will surely lead us to talk also about the weaknesses, the weakest points of our evangelization. Can you give us a brief?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge we have in our system in Africa will be funding, finance. We have this wonderful continent with lots of young confreres who want to go on mission, who want to go out. But in order to be able to do that, like the challenge I told you, the challenge of even going for missionary works within the context is very difficult. So you need funding. Then you also need proper grounding. And that's why the funding is there. To be able to have, how do we take our heritage, the Redemptorist charism, our spirituality, a lot of all these beautiful historical heritages we have, how are we able to transfer them, to incarnate them in Africa? How are we able, like those in Europe, they are used to these places. They are used to these concepts and things. How are we able to bring it to them? How are we able to move like the Spirituality Renewal Center from Chironi to closer to African continent? That we are also able to benefit from these things.
Yes.
How are we able to make sure that materials are available, easily available?
In the formation houses.
Formation houses. You know, these are things that are huge challenges, such that we are forming them holistically and bequeathing to them holistically the charism, the tradition, the rich heritage of our congregation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and this is an excellent point we talk about, and thanks for your frank sharing. Now, amid secularization and liminality, the drama of change in the world, How do we carry evangelization in our context again, Africa and Madagascar?
Yeah, you use the word liminality. And it's good to clarify what that really means. My understanding of liminality is that you're in an in-between stage.
Exactly.
You're trying to, there's a change happening.
Exactly.
The change has not happened, but
Yes.
it will happen, right?
Yes.
So there's this in-between state.
A transitional state.
So, and you look at that in-between state, then you look at it with the secularism in the society.
Exactly.
Then if you come to Africa too, I bring the question of enculturation. Like in Europe and US, the secularism is a strong problem, hitting everybody.
Yes.
That for me as a Redemptorist, an American Redemptorist will now have to ask himself, how be a Redemptorist in a secular world where there is no sense of the ultimacy of God, of the sacred, of what those things that give solidity to your life. So how do you live your life within that context? How do you even make accessible to the people the message of plentiful redemption in a society that does not see any sense in the spiritual? Now, if you move to our context too, you find those trends
Exactly.
flowing
It's
in.
a global trend.
Yes, you find young people now telling you, why do I need God? There is no heaven. If there's heaven, I don't care. Let me just enjoy here. What do I need to go to heaven? Boring place.
No meaning.
No meaning. But in between that also, you find in Africa, especially in Nigeria, that the young people again, in the sense of enculturation, they are going back to traditional practices we've left behind. They've resurrected shrines, pagan, and what we call idol worship and those things, ancestral worship. They tell you they are our saints. If the Catholic Church gives me saints, a white man saint, my father, my mother who died, I can also worship, honor the person, right?
Yes.
So you find those things, but they capture it in the sense of enculturation. So I think that is a climate we're finding ourselves. How do we engage that climate? And I think that is a beautiful thing about this Secretariat meeting we had. I found out that we were all honest and open, sincere in the dialogue to say, wow, there's something happening now. We have gotten this beautiful message that we are missionaries of hope in the footsteps of the Most Holy Redeemer. We have this beautiful thing. We say, oh, we preach plentiful redemption
Yes.
to others. We preach fullness of life to others. We preach that the mercy of God to others. Now, how do you now, with those messages, how do you engage a word that tells you that I have my worldview? My worldview is to tell me to go to my ancestors. Or my worldview is just a secular worldview. There's nothing about the sense of the sacred. There's nothing about the belief in do good, avoid evil.
Yes.
That whatever, there is no general norm. Now, whatever is good for me is good for me. Whatever, that the person becomes the center
Relativism.
of everything. Relativism, postmodernism,
Yes.
behavior, you know.
Thank you very much. Can we also talk about religious fundamentalism as a challenge to our work of evangelization in Africa and Madagascar?
Yes, you find that a lot of religious fundamentalism, but there's a reason for that.
Yes.
My take in studying it is that corruption is the biggest problem. So the society has failed.
Corruption in terms of political?
Yes, political. Because society has failed to provide security for people, people go to God. Because society has failed to provide good medical health to people, people seek God to help them. Because society has made it difficult for people to have finances for education and everything, people see their last hope is to pray, God, grant me breakthrough. Now, what have you found out? There are people who have now capitalized on those situations. And now they've now said, let's go back to what it is, fundamental interpretation of the scriptures. But in doing that, they are not doing it because they want to lead the people to God, but they're doing it in order to benefit,
satisfy their own
curiosity, also to fleece the people, to
Yes.
also extract extract from
Extortion.
the people, extortionist mentality from the people also. So you find those situations. So there are a lot of fundamentalistic approach to religion, to everything in Africa. Yeah, you find it. So that's a big challenge where you walk into. So if you may come to a young person now and you tell the person, wow, Jesus Christ did not create you that you have to suffer, you have to become like a slave to go to heaven. No. Jesus Christ came that you may have life and have it to the full. These things happening, they are not the will of God for you, but they are the effect of evil. They are the effect of the structures of sins in society. If you preach to them like that, they look at you. They'll tell you don't know what you are saying. Isn't it a complication?
Yes.
Because they are unable to associate the mercy of God with any of those things.
This comes to the problem of interpretation of the scriptures, the problem of a prosperity gospel.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for this explanation, and also I'm very pleased. Now, Korean Redemptorists of Africa and Madagascar, what are our opportunities in this work of evangelization?
Like I said, I'm very hopeful for Korea, because I look at it. I've been part of Korea,
Yes.
For quite some years now, and I found that we have a lot of great potentials in Korea. We have young men, we have lay missionaries who are they are burning with zeal. Our lay collaborators, they are burning with zeal. I can tell you in Nigeria, we have close to 10,000 confraternity, League of St. Gerard. When I was Viceprovincial, the beautiful thing was this. I go to some places, I meet bishops. They tell me, oh, Redemptorists, well done for what you do. Now, the well done for what you do is not because of us Redemptorist priests or brothers, but because of our lay collaborators. They've gone before us, sharing with them our heritage and our traditions. You can see that burning in almost every unit. I've been to Ghana.
Yes.
The lay collaborators there. If you go to Zimbabwe, we held this meeting in Nigeria of the lay partners in Africa and Madagascar. You could see them burning with enthusiasm.
It's opportunity
Yes.
we have to be proud
So
of
that
and take advantage of.
That is really great. And you see the Redemptorists, the Korean, the coordinator, you can see that desire, real desire from an honest places. We have confreres who are working in war zones, like in Nigeria. We have communities in Kaduna.
Yes.
That in spite of the terrorist attack, our confreres are still there working.
The persecution.
You have in Burkina Faso guys working in those areas where you have the jihadis. You have in different contexts, even those working with the internally displaced people. So you can, if you're looking at that, you really see that there's really
a great
burning with zeal.
Thank you.
Trying to live a Redemptorist charism in very difficult and challenging situations.
We thank you for your sharing so far. As you rightly mentioned, the involvement of our lay associates and the youth is indispensable, and it's a great opportunity. But there are, of course, challenges. We can't be oblivious of the fact that we have problems of handling this interaction. Can we dilate on this?
Yeah, and I think that's where you find out that in my Secretariat of Evangelization, you find the importance of shared mission, or partnership in mission, and Redemptorist Youth and Vocational Ministry.
Yes.
There was a connection that Anne made, the chairperson of the shared mission. He said, Redemptorist Youth and Vocational Ministry is intimately connected with shared mission.
Yes.
Now, these young people, we're providing the environment for them. We're journeying with them. Hopefully, if we journey with them in the right way, not in a manipulative way, but in an open way, we meet them in a non-judgmental way. We provide our space where they will engage our charism as different from what they find out in other situations.
Yes.
That they will grow into it and move from there to becoming our collaborators in a permanent sense, like into the shared mission.
Yes.
You see, so these are the issues that for us as a congregation, which I think is very good, and that's why I love the statement of the general government that in devising program for those who have stayed in ministry for 10 years, renewal program.
Yes.
That program should also be made available to our lay collaborators. And every unit, and that's what we're also doing, every unit, the Shared Mission, Redemptorist Youth and Vocation Ministry, should also help in the formation of the lay collaborators. We need a process of formation. Just as we're having ongoing formation for ourselves, that is the same way we are obliged from the document, and that is something we're also working on. I think Anne will be able to say that a lot, that there should be ongoing formation. They have a ratio formaciones, but that ratio should not just remain on the shelves,
yes,
but the local superiors of each unit. When I say local superiors, conference coordinator, provincials, vice provincial, mission heads, should be able to make those things available and also have different commissions to be able to help in that faith formation so that we are working in sync with each other.
I appreciate this. You talked earlier on about the Office of Justice and Peace and Integrity of Creation, connecting it to Laudato Si,
yes,
to protect our common home. What are the practical commitments of Coriam?
Now, there's something to ask, what are the practical commitments of Coriam? I'll go this way.
Yes.
Coriam has set up, as far as I can tell you, when I was vice provincial, Coriam set up the unit of justice, peace, and integrity of creation. We had that Secretariat commission in Coriam, and in the unit also we have the commission.
Yes.
Now, Coriam has done that, but the effectiveness, the responsibility to translate that into action depends on each and every Redemptorist.
Exactly.
What do I mean by that? Instead of looking for extraordinary things to do in an extraordinary way, in my own little way as a Redemptorist, I should do the ordinary thing in an extraordinary way.
Exactly.
For example, instead of when I want to brush my teeth in the morning, I just open the tap, water is running. I should get a glass, get water, brush, use the quantity I need. Because I should think that there are those who are dying to get clean water to drink.
A cup of clean water to drink.
There are people dying from that. In my community, instead of cooking at night, we have eaten so much, we just leave it there. The following morning is spoiled, we go throw it away. It should be my responsibility that after eating, I should be able to keep those meals, put it back, so that the following day, it could be used, because there are those going to bed without food and there are those dying of starvation. These are little things. Instead of trashing the earth, I should be able to be responsible for my trash, what I use. Instead of just cutting trees, which we have that habit in Africa and Madagascar. You have trees, people just come cut the trees off because I don't like tree.
Deforestation.
Deforestation, even in our communities. I should make an obligation that for any tree I cut, I plant another tree for the future generation coming.
Exactly.
If I do that, you do that, every other person does that, you discover that the integrity of creation is being protected. And if there's this network of people doing that, we will be able to translate the structure. So until we move to that level of personal responsibility, it will be a problem.
Are there protocols in Coriam to this regard?
Yes, protocols are in Coriam for that, because Coriam has set up justice and peace, this thing. Each unit, even my unit, we appointed guys into the commission. But
the implementation.
But I did not see one document from them, some practical documents as to what is a commitment to the concept of Laudato Si. The Pope said the world is also crying. So I think we are all called to be converted more.
Thank you very much, Joterio, for this exposition. I'm very, very pleased to have you in this interaction. Your availability and your time is well appreciated. We thank our cheerful listeners. We thank you for your attention, and we'll meet again for other presentations. Thank you very much.